It is a beautiful summer day here in Minnesota, Zone 4B, and I'm doing my first garden tour of the 2019 season, really ever. Um, Back in February, I was in my basement in the frozen tundra and playing in my dirt and um, sorting through my seeds and planning my year and getting my seeds started for the summer. And I always thought I have to do videos and record the progress and have something to look back on. And then I didn't. And part of that is just I'm terribly camera shy, and part of it is I just like to do my thing. And and every time I would check my seedlings and they'd grow, I would tell myself, "Oh, you know, I gotta do a video. I should be recording this. I should be logging this." And so goes the story for months. And it is now June 29th. I have still never done a video, um, but and my garden has gone so far. So every time I come outside and every time I look at the progress of my garden, um, I regret not doing the videos. And so today, the garden's come a long way. It's looking really great. And I still haven't done a video. So I'm starting a video. I see all the neighbors kind of crawling out of their houses right now. And so hopefully they don't think I'm loony just sitting here recording myself. But we'll get started. I'm going to show you the vegetable garden today and a couple of other things along the way. I kind of also want to do a video for some of my gardening failures too, because there are many of those. But we can get started. I want to start by just showing you this. This is my first cucumber harvest of the season, and I wanted to pick them this morning so that they still were fresh and tasty before the sun hit them today. So they're not in the garden anymore. I picked them out, but everything else I tried to leave so I could just show you what's in there and what needs to be done, and how far the garden's come. So flip around. So we're gonna start here. I'm just sitting on the steps of my deck, and we're gonna walk over to the garden so you can kind of see the full view. But I want to show you these little impromptu earth beds that I made because I had a lot of extra tomato seedlings, and I sold a bunch of them, but I didn't want them to go to waste. They're sort of my babies, and so I just dug these earth beds along here and over there to see if I can get them to grow, and they're not doing great. I was really surprised when I was digging these beds that, I dug them out, maybe 12 inches deep, and I dug, I don't know if there's like 14 holes here, and there was just no soil life whatsoever in the soil. So I have a feeling they're not going to do really well. So I did throw a little fertilizer in here, and these plants had been sitting together in a container for a while, probably wet, but it looks like many of them have gotten some disease. So this is the only one that I have left of my Super Sweet 100. So it's unfortunate that this has to go. I mean, it's diseased, it's looking awful, it's not doing well. This is a Rutgers variety, one of the last ones that I put in, and it's also doing horribly. I don't think it's worth saving. I have so many so many tomato plants that I don't need these. I just kind of wanted to save them. But, this one's doing really well. Not as well as my other ones in the garden, but it's looking healthy. Probably a Roma. This Roma, it's okay. We'll see how it goes. So, and I also planted this row. This row is doing okay. It looks like we've got a little bit of a fruit coming here. It doesn't look great. It probably, I don't know if it'll do well, but we'll see. So we've got these tomatoes kind of growing here. I probably won't plant this again. It'll go back to grass next year. But I thought I'd give it a shot. Back here, and sorry, it's hard to see my screen in the sun. I have some currant bushes. These had to be fenced in because We've actually had them, I think, 3 years now. And the rabbits kept eating the canes down. And so we finally fenced them in this year. And they're coming along and they're doing really well. So I think this is the first year we're going to get some currants out of here. I can see there are some growing down here. I haven't even tried one yet, so I'm really excited to get some currants and maybe someday make some jam or something. But I have 2 red currant bushes, and then this one is doing really well. This is the black currant, and again, I haven't tried these yet, so I'm excited to. So we've got some black currants growing in here for the first time, and so that's really exciting. So you can see my yard is a disaster, and everything's been neglected this year, but once you see my vegetable garden, you'll kind of understand why. My peonies are done for the year. I should come out and deadhead these and just make them pretty again. Irises are done for the year, but my dark towers are just absolutely gorgeous. They're just blooming. I think there's a little bit of phlox growing in there from before. Usually my rabbits eat those down, but it looks like they're kind of protected there. So I'm liking that. And then I noticed today that I think this is a daisy coming in. So I'm excited to see that pop up, because I didn't think that was here. But this whole perennial garden is probably going to go and maybe be moved to the front or something, but I hate to move those peonies because I don't want even one season of them not blooming. So, but it just gets really wet back here, and so it's not a great place for a garden at all. That's not in a raised bed, and it's just kind of an awkward position too. So this bed may eventually go. And we do so have some birds that have nested in that feeder. We just put that up this year. It's supposed to be for bluebirds, but we didn't get it up in time for that. So there's some other little guys living in there. So this is the vegetable garden. This has been expanded multiple times over the years. Craig has been really great about helping me, and I think that sometimes he can get a little bit impatient, but he always helps me really happily, and I'm very grateful to have him. So let's start on the outside actually here, because I think it's easier to see. Last year I started some hollyhock seeds, and these are biennial, so they're only gonna, they didn't flower last year, and they flower in the second year, and then they die off, or they reseed and die off. This plant I actually transplanted. It was over there up against the house, but that's a bad spot for it because they really like the full sun. So I tried transplanting it. This year they don't like to be transplanted because they have a long taproot, and sure enough, when I transplanted it, I broke that taproot about 13 inches from the base. So I don't know, it really didn't like to be transplanted, but I did it. It's perking up, and it looks like it may actually even flower for me, so I'm really excited. I've never had hollyhocks before. This bed inside the fence here is pumpkin. We had some leftover pumpkin seeds last year. Eli wanted to grow this white Casper pumpkin, but we got it in the ground way too late, and we knew that was probably going to be the case, so we didn't get any pumpkins last year from it, but this year we did. And we also bought a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, so I'm not even sure which is which here, but we should have some yellow and white pumpkins coming in this bed. It looked like I had some that maybe were pollinated, but they're just not, it's just not sticking, so they're not growing, but we'll see. We've got lots of time yet. And then I've got an acorn squash here growing too. These are my potatoes. They got started extremely late, but they're doing really well. So I have come out and filled, I built up the soil in here a little bit, but you can see there's lots and lots of room in there for more. So I'm going to get out here in the next day or two and just really build that up and see if I can get some extra tubers. These are bee balm plants that I just actually put in, I think, last weekend. They were a gift, well, they were an exchange for some of my extra tomato plants. Somebody came and got, and she brought me this bee balm in exchange. So I'm really excited to see this fill out and grow. all of the rest of the flowers along the side here are planted from seed. So it's the first time besides marigolds, it's the first time I've tried to plant anything from seed. And it wasn't easy, and I killed a lot of them, but some of it survived. So I've got, some geranium in here. They're not doing so well. I mean, they should definitely be flowering by now. I think these are pansies or petunias. I can never remember. Some cosmos here. And then this is butterfly flower that I started from seed. And I think I had to cold stratify these, so I'm kind of excited that they're here, but also a little bit disappointed because they're only this big. So maybe next year they'll be better. I don't know. This little patch was reserved for my zinnias, but I killed them when they were about 6 inches high. They were still in the greenhouse and I hadn't watered, and they just crumbled up to nothing. So I started some more. They're about 4 inches high now, and I think they're about ready to come out to the garden. I'm afraid the rabbits will eat them because they're not in the fence, but we'll see how that goes. And some more flowers, and some more potatoes over here too. This is my strawberry patch. It's doing really well. On this side I have some ever-bearing strawberries. So these are just these little guys. They're tiny, but they're super sweet and really awesome, delicious. And then over here are my June-bearing strawberries. I got these, my mom was in town, and on Facebook some lady had a bunch of plants that were runners, and she sold like, I don't know, 20 plants for $5 or something. So we went and got them. I'm going to open the fence here and take you inside and show you how well they're doing. And we've been picking at them, and Molly loves to come in here and just eat. But you can see these are really doing great. We've got lots of strawberries coming in, and I gotta really come out here and pick these. And I don't really even know what I'm gonna do with them, because last year was our first year. Something took a bite of that one. Last year was the first year, and I wasn't sure how many to expect here. But I've got lots. I don't know if it's enough to really make jam or anything big like that. But they're doing really well. I see a little friend here doing some of God's work in my garden, so happy to see that. This is my tomato bed. So these are, I don't know if you can really see the size of these, but these are a little more than waist high. The back half of this garden are Roma tomatoes. I plant those because they're a determinate variety that are all ready to go at once, and so we can come out here and do just like 1 or 2 harvests and do all the canning. So these are going to be my salsa tomatoes, and they're going to be amazing. But the one thing I know I'm going to regret, because I regret it every year, well, I don't regret it every year, but I really crowded them in here. So you can see I have, a row here and a row over here, and then I've got them planted in the middle too. And really they are like 18 inches apart, but these determinate tomatoes get really big, and so I'll really have to stay on top of pruning these so that I don't get disease coming through here. This half, like from here forward, are a variety that I haven't grown before. They are Viva Italia tomatoes, so they're a hybrid, and they're like a Roma, but they're supposed to be a little bit more disease resistant. So I'm trying them this year, and I think I'm gonna really like them, but we'll see. I'm not really a tomato eater, so I'm not sure, when you change varieties, is it gonna change the flavor of my salsa or what? So we'll see how that goes. This, guys, is so awesome. This is my green stalk grow tower that I got for Mother's Day this year from Craig, and it's amazing. So there are five tiers of 6, I believe, spots for plants. So about 30 plants I can fit in here. Mostly I have peppers. So I've got a lot of sweet banana peppers in here. I've got some jalapeno peppers, and it looks like some of them are ready to be staked up a little bit. Some of them are starting to flower a little bit, so I should hopefully have some peppers soon. And then I've got some flowers in here too, just for beauty, and I've got some, there's no Thai chili in that one, but I've got some bunching onion here too that are just ready to use, so I'm really excited. Looks like this one needs to, I'll come in and stake this one up. So this is a really great system because I can just water it from the top in here, and there are lines there to tell you, you know, how many, you know, how much water to put in. So at the top here it says 5. I have 5 levels, and so I just fill that thing to the top, to the 5 level, and there's a drip system inside of here where the water comes down and evenly distributes throughout each of the 5 tiers. And of course I was a little bit worried what it would be like, but so far it's been really great, and it's stayed water. It's hot today and we haven't had rain in a couple days, and so I might come out and give it a little water. It's looking just a little bit droopy, but I'm really happy with it, and so we'll see the production I get out of it too. So let's move over to here. We're back to the other side of this tomato bed, and then again over here I have that little pumpkin patch, and I know this is just gonna grow like crazy, and I'm gonna be sad about trying to walk through here, but that's what happens when you're a greedy gardener. I think this looks like it's been pollinated, but I had one of those already before and it died, so we'll see if it works. Over here on this side of the trellis, I've got a few things going. I started some loofah seed this year, and they didn't do really well, but it seems like I've got a couple of survivors. Like I think this is one. And I'm excited to see these. So these are a gourd that if you pick it early, it will, you can eat it like a zucchini. Or you can let it go to seed and be late, and when you cut it open, it's like a loofah sponge in there, so you can cut it up and use it as a pot scrubber or whatever. And then, but since those didn't fill out well, I did throw some cucumbers in here, and I threw some pole beans in here too, just because I wanted to fill up this trellis and make it look nice. So we'll see how those do. They're growing really slowly, and I did, you know, later on throw some cucumber starts in here after the fact. So we'll see how that goes. This plant, I don't know if it's even in, there it is. That plant is borage. I grew it last year, and mostly I just grow it for the pollinators, but also it's edible. So these little flowers are edible. They are sweet. Some people say they taste a little bit cucumbery. I don't pick up on that, but I do pick up on the sweetness, and it's delicious. So it's a beautiful just little thing to throw into a salad. And the bees love it, the bugs love it, so it draws them to the garden. This leaf here, these leaves are actually one of my hollyhocks from last year. I had put them in the back of the garden, and I didn't know how much they were going to branch out, and I wasn't going to leave them here, but this one I thought was gone, and it's coming back. I don't know if it's going to flower this year, but I'm going to leave it because I love it, and I think most of these crops are going to come out anyways. So the only other things I have in here are I sprinkled a little bit of carrot seed, which obviously really need to be thinned. But if you didn't know, those little carrot, I don't know, they're not really sprouts, but those greens when they're babies are really good to just eat as they are. So when you thin out your carrots, do them young, and you can eat those leaves, and they're delicious. They taste like carrot, and you can just throw them in your salad or just eat it as a snack. Molly likes them too. They're just kind of fun to come out to the garden and eat something. Over here, it's some sort of brassicas, so I've got, you know, a few plants through here. I don't know because I got my seeds mixed up. They're either broccoli or they're kohlrabi. I'm not sure which, or maybe both, but we'll find out when they grow in. That's kind of one of the exciting parts about gardening is just seeing what grows in. Over there, along that trellis, I have some butternut squash. And I think I threw some pole beans in on this side too. So I think those squash are going to climb up the trellis. They really sprawled out last year, but I didn't get a lot of production from them because, I don't know, they got these like rotten little spots and they just didn't do well. So hopefully this year, up off the ground, they're going to do a little bit better. And I think that's all that's over there. These are more of the Viva Italia tomatoes. They're doing really well. We've got some blossoms coming in there. These cages I really love. I actually got these for free. Anytime I can save money on my garden stuff, I do. These I got for free on the Facebook swap. Some person just didn't want them anymore and posted out there and said come and get these. So they're configurable and I really like them, and they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 8 of them, and they were just completely free. I stuck some onion sets down in here. So in my garden I just kind of popped in onions anywhere that I could find a spot for them, so they're spread out throughout here. I just spotted in here something magical, and if you can see right back here, I've got some tomatoes coming. So I think those are really my first real, sorry I can't get a good shot of it, but that's the first I've spotted of my Roma varieties, and I see some more down here too, so that's exciting. And I can't wait to see what my harvest is going to be this year. So this is really the first time I'm seeing any of those, so I'm excited. Just gonna check this tag because I don't remember if I had something else over here. Nope. We got some Asian long beans here in this bed. After I planted them, I learned that they don't do well in these short season gardening zones, so I'll probably never plant them again. I don't think they'll do very well, but we'll see, and I think they'll be pretty on the trellis, so I'm excited to see how those turn out. These 2 tomatoes, guys, I'm really excited. These are my contest tomatoes, so I'm participating in a contest, and it's, you know, really just a for fun contest on Gardening Coast to Coast. You can find them on Facebook, and it's just a free contest with some little prizes and stuff. But the contest is to, 1, grow the largest tomato that you can, and then for 2, there's another prize for the highest yielding tomato plant. And so I planted 2, and these are a Steakhouse hybrid from Burpee. I don't think they're the variety that I really wanted to plant, but it's what I could find in time to plant, and, you know, new from seed, and it was pretty late in the season when I got these started. So I'm excited to see how these do. I think this is going to be, you know, if I kind of follow the rules, I want this one to be the, you know, where I find my big giant tomato, and then this one I think I'm gonna grow for yield. I already see though on this one that I've got a blossom that's looks like maybe it's just a single blossom, but it's a huge blossom for, I guess, what I'm used to seeing, so we'll see. Maybe that'll be my big tomato. Back here I have some beets growing. Those greens are looking pretty amazing. I started those from seeds in my basement. I do see that something is finally starting to eat at this plant a little bit. So I'm gonna get out here and treat those. I do have, that looks like, I don't remember if that's cilantro, or actually I think it tasted like parsley when I tried it, but they're overgrown. They're starting to bolt already and flower, and so they're probably not going to give me much this year. These are all bell peppers, so this will be the peppers for my salsa, and you can see that I've just scattered these onion sets in here too. So I want all of my ingredients for my salsa to come from the garden this year. The one exception is garlic. I've never grown garlic, and I know that I have to start them, you know, late in the summer to get them for next year. So I'll find a spot for them this year and give that a shot. And then in a few little spots, I just scattered some seeds for some Swiss chard. So I'll come out and probably thin these if I need to. I don't know, I'll look it up. But I've got some Swiss chard growing here, so hopefully they'll come in. I got them started really late, really after the garden was in. But you know, today I'm noticing that these peppers are kind of getting some of these spots. Looks like something may be eating these guys, and then either that or it's, you know, out back here it kind of looks like they might have some sort of fungus. So I'm gonna look these up. In fact, I'm gonna pluck this leaf off so I can have a good view of what's going on here, so I can get these treated. It's just this one back here that's kind of buried among all these cucumbers, so I'm thinking that it could just be that it's staying too damp and it might be developing some sort of fungal disease. I've never seen that on my peppers, so I haven't paid much attention to it. So I'm gonna learn about that, I guess, this year. These are cucumbers. They are, I think this is my lunchbox hybrid, and they're from Burpee. As you see, oh, I didn't see these before. I don't know if you can see back here. I got this little guy coming. And these are kind of cute. I haven't grown them before, but they're, I think they're like those ones you buy sort of in the packages in the grocery store, but they're just little snackers, and you harvest them early when they're young, and they're just, you know, lunchbox snackers. And so, like I said, I haven't grown them before, and so I see tons and tons of blossoms in here, and I'm just now starting to see these. Oh guys, I can't see the screen here. I can't see the screen at all in the sun here, but I see some pickles growing in, or not pickles, cucumbers. So I'll have to come back out here and really inspect, because these cucumbers can hide, and then they get too big, and we don't want that to happen. So these are, like I said, these are my lunchbox hybrid. We'll see how they go. One thing I read though is that if you don't pick them young, like, you can't let them go even one extra day or they start to get bitter and seedy. So we'll see. It may be my only year growing them. On this side I have my pick a bushel cucumbers. So this is one that I harvested today. These are not going to get very big. I didn't know that they were, until recently I didn't realize they were only a semi-bush variety. So this actually would have been a good cucumber for a patio. So they're not going to fill up this trellis, I don't think. I don't know, we'll see. I get a nice green thumb, maybe I can get them to grow nice and big. But these are All America Selections winter, and hopefully these are going to be my pickling cucumbers. I see that there's another one right here, just about ready to harvest. But other than this one, I've only harvested one off of here, and I see some babies coming, but I don't know if this is going to be as prolific as I thought it was going to be, but we'll see. Everything in my garden so far that I've showed you is started from seed. All of the flowers, the cucumbers, the you know, the beets I started from seed in the house, the herbs, the peppers. The onion sets I did not. I do have some onion, like the bunching onion that are in my tower are from seed. These onions, onions are kind of hard, I found, to start from seed, but I'm definitely going to keep trying because they do better their first year. These onion sets that you buy in the store are actually second year onions that just don't get as big as if you were to start them from seed. But my seedlings just didn't survive my onions, so I had to go buy some onion sets, and I poked them in here. So those are not from seed, but everything else that I've showed you so far are from seed. Herbs, the tomatoes, the flowers. So the marigolds you can see back there, they're from seeds. The borage is from seed. All the cucumbers. A couple of things are not, and they're usually afterthoughts. So this little guy right here is so sweet. It's if you know me well, you know that my daughter Molly is lovingly nicknamed Midget. And so when somebody on one of my Facebook groups posted that they bought this Minnesota Midget variety melon, when I saw that, I had to have one. So I ordered seed already for next year, but I am also went out to Bachman's and I just picked up a plant. And there were, I think, 3 or 4 plants in there. So I've got 2 here started, and then 2 on the other side over here. And I can show you those. But I'm excited for those, and Molly's excited. And they're just little personal size, like muskmelons. And they're supposed to be really good and easy to grow and fast and prolific. So we'll see those. This is kind of my last ditch effort to grow some peas. I didn't even remember what variety of peas these are. I'm thinking they're garden peas, but I learned a tough lesson this year where I kind of mixed in my garden peas with my sugar snap peas, and that's a dumb idea because I don't know how to eat them. So if they kind of look like a sugar snap pea, and you eat it, then it's, you know, it's kind of disgusting because they're stringy and hard to chew, and then you don't get the peas. So I don't know if these are even going to do anything for me, but I had the space, so I stuck them in. I have these 2 rows of tomato plants, and these are my indeterminate tomatoes. So what that means is that unlike the determinate tomatoes like the Romas and the Viva Italia, these will continue to grow throughout the growing season, and they can get enormous. So they can get, you know, 6-10 feet tall if you let them, and they branch out and form new plants, and they're huge. And so these ones will be they'll take a lot more of my time because I'll need to prune them. I think I'm going to stick with pruning them to 2 main stems because I'm a greedy gardener and I like to get as much as I can rather than 1 stem. And then this year I'm trying this Florida weave method to stake them because tomato stakes are really expensive and cages even more expensive. So this system, you just anchor a post on either end and you weave this string through, you know, every few inches, and you weave them so that, you know, the plant is kind of sandwiched between the strings back and forth, and that provides your support for your tomato plant. So I can see I already need to add another level or 2 of string in here to get these up. But so far I like the method. I think it'll be easier, but I really got to get out here and prune these. I'm seeing something I don't like over here. This tomato's got some curling on its leaves. Just a little bit. I don't know. I'll have to pay some extra attention to that guy and just make sure that he's okay. So let's move back here, and I know my garden is messy, but you can see this enormous borage plant. So I don't know if you can tell what the height is here, but I'm not bending over at all. So this is about, you know, waist high on me. It's just gorgeous. It's drowning out. I've got my little Minnesota midget down here. So it's really crowding out this melon plant, which really does need more sunlight, but that's okay. I've got those other ones on the other side. Again, this is that pick a bushel cucumber, and I did have a couple of extra starts that I just threw in here, and they'll climb up this trellis. These are 2nd year asparagus, so I'm just letting them grow here. They're not established enough that I can, you know, eat from them yet, but hopefully next year they will be. And then within here, I just wanted to interplant this space because I don't have endless garden space. So back here with the asparagus, I threw in a dill seed. So these little fuzzies down here are dill. Right now they're kind of hard to distinguish from the asparagus because they look similar, but once they go to seed, it'll be really easy to tell where my asparagus are, or where my dill is. These are red Russian kale, and it's really my first time growing kale. I've never really been a kale fan, but I think it's because I didn't have a variety that I liked, and I've heard good things about this. I can see These were doing really great, but I can see they've been bitten a few times. So I'll come out here and spray these with neem oil or something. And I haven't harvested them much, so I should. So I should maybe come out here tomorrow morning, harvest a bunch of this, and fry them up with some eggs. I've heard that's pretty good. So I'm gonna try that. Here's another Minnesota midget that's getting just shaded out. So another good reason to come out here and harvest this kale. Surprisingly, Molly likes this a lot. And when she's outside playing, she'll just come up to me and say, "Mom, can I have some kale?" And she comes and runs out to the garden and she just harvests a piece of kale and she eats it, or she brings it to her friends. So all the neighborhood kids come over and eat kale out of my garden. So all you neighborhood parents, you're welcome. Your kids are eating kale. This was not from seed, but I'll grow kale from seed next year and give it a shot. Those I just picked up in the nursery. These cucumbers are my Sweet Success cucumbers. So two of the ones that I harvested today were these. These are, I think, a 2014 All-America Selections winner. I really like them so far. I tried one today and it was really delicious. And these are actually like an English cucumber variety, so they'll get long and about 12 inches long and narrow. So I think they'll be really good for just snacking and also for throwing in a salad. I see, I don't know if you can see that in there, but there's actually a few. So I think this is gonna probably be my best producer, but it's also the one that's getting kind of eaten by critters. So I have treated this since, but you can see I've got some somebody's chomping on it here, and if I turn the leaf over I might find the culprit. No, because maybe I got rid of them when I sprayed, but you can see these couple of leaves are just decimated. There were two things out here that I found. One was a little wormy guy. I'm not really sure what it was, but I'm still kind of creepy crawly. I'm not good at like hand picking bugs, so when I saw it, the worm on here, I just ripped off a part of the leaf and I threw it on the ground and stomped on it because I'm kind of a weenie that way. And then the other thing I saw out here was a cucumber beetle. I don't see him now, so hopefully the spray that I used worked. And it was just a store-bought spray. I'm not a good enough gardener to really care too much about making sure that I'm organic or anything, because to me, everything's a chemical. Chemicals are made from organic things. Organic products are, can just as easily be considered chemicals. And I know there's more to it than that, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. So I don't bother. And, I put so much work into my garden that I don't mess around with these guys. When there's pests out here and or disease, I want it gone, because I spend way too much time and effort tending to my garden, and I need it to be successful. And so I don't mind coming out here with a can of Sevin Dust and sprinkling it, especially when the Asian beetles come, because they will just take out my whole garden if I don't take care of those. So that's what I do. I can see this guy's climbing up nice and high. I'm liking this plant. This is an eggplant. I can see, I've never grown eggplant before. It looks like there's a blossom here. I think, like I said, I've never grown it, but it looks like there's a little eggplant in there. I don't know. Maybe and you can tell me, is this going to be a plant coming, or did this not get pollinated, or did it, or I don't know. And this is Shiku eggplant. I don't think it's a variety that I would have liked for like slicing and frying, but I don't really know anything about eggplant. I just think it'd be fun to grow, so I got one. This one is supposed to be good for like Asian dishes, stir fries, things like that. So we'll see how that goes. This was not from seed, but if I like growing it, then next year I'll start some eggplant seeds. Along with eggplant, I really would like to try growing okra. Again, it's another thing I don't really know anything about, but could be fun to grow. Here's the last Minnesota midget, so we'll see how that goes. And you can see I planted these marigolds throughout the garden. They're really great for, just deterring some of the pests that can come into your garden. I do have a fence all the way around. I have to, because the rabbits just eat everything, but not only that, but You know, marigolds to me are absolutely gorgeous, and I know they're kind of a weedy flower to some people, but I love them. I love them. So these are root vegetables along here, and you know, the carrots are easily recognizable. I've got two varieties of carrots in there. One is just like your standard, I don't know, yellow carrot, and the other is I think it's like a tricolor mix. So I'm looking forward to those. And then I've got radishes in here, and I've got beets. But I don't really know what's what. I don't grow radishes enough to know what's a weed and what's a radish, because I don't eat radishes. I'm just trying them this year, and I'd like to learn to like them. So I think these are radishes. I don't know, maybe somebody can tell me. And then maybe these guys are beets. See, but yeah, these look like beets. I think the rest of this must just be radish, because I know that these are beets, and it looks like they maybe aren't getting enough sun because they're radishes. So I don't know, I guess I just have to, oh yeah, I can see in here I've got a little radish bulb coming. But again, I don't know how to weed them. Now that I'm close to it, I can see what the radish looks like versus, looks like this is probably a weed, but I think in this case, I'll do what I can to weed, but I think the weeds are just going to have to grow with them. The radishes aren't going to take long before they're ready to harvest, and then they'll be gone. So this will all be empty space. I want to put some nasturtium in here. I started some from seed, and so they're up on my deck, and I really want to get those in here. Because those are edible flowers. These are Asian long bean, or yeah, I think these are Asian long beans. So these are like the yard long varieties, so that'll be fun when these start coming in. And then I have some purple beans coming here, and then these are just Kentucky Wonder snap beans, and these are also snap beans too. They are Blue Lake pole beans. I'm growing pole beans this year because, you know, I've always grown bush beans, but I've always kind of struggled to harvest them because you really got to get down and into the dirt, and they take up a lot of space. And then last year, as a fall crop, I threw in some pole beans on my tomato stakes where I had my tomatoes planted. You know, the tomatoes were done, they died off, I pulled them out, and then I planted pole beans there. And they grew so quickly, and they were so delicious, and they were so easy to harvest. And I just said, I'm not doing bush beans anymore, because these pole beans are just really great. So that's it. That's my garden. It's doing really well. I still have a bunch of seedlings that I started and then I'm not gonna need. And I wish I had room for them, and I wish I had somebody to take them. Oh, one thing I forgot is this little guy. I should maybe turn this so he can get some sun. This is a Thai chili, and I don't, I'm not a spicy, I'm not a spicy pepper eater, but somebody had these to exchange for some of my tomato plants that I was selling, and I was kind of excited to hear it, and I would just like to grow them. So I have these. They're still just tiny. They were only, you know, this big of seedlings when I got them from the lady, and I'm glad they're surviving this long, but it looks like they probably need some more sun. They're not getting on the side of the trellis, or on the side of the planter. I see a little pepper coming here. This is a sweet banana pepper, so I'll get a bunch of those. Probably can them. And I did see also over here I've got chives coming. These I started from seed too. I don't know why I don't have very good luck with chives. Maybe because I put them in pots and they should be in the ground so that they can grow back the second year. But those are my chives so far. I've got some starts going. These are all cucumbers that are just extra that I didn't have room for. So if anybody wants them, they're yours. These are some kale that I started, so I should find a spot for these. probably on the deck. And then I've got some basil going. I don't have any mature basil plants yet. But I'm going to do, I think, a separate video on basil because I've got a bunch started inside of a few different varieties that I'm going to grow and just see if I like them. Well, that's it, everybody. That's my garden tour. That's my vegetable garden. I will another day maybe talk a little bit about my flower beds. I'm not as good as that kind of gardening, and I'm actually just learning vegetable gardening too, but I think that if I post videos, I can get some feedback from some other people and tell me what I'm doing wrong and what I'm doing right, and maybe share some of what I've learned too. I can't wait for this garden to fill out. I can't wait for those trellises to be full and, you know, cucumbers hanging from the tops, and I'm really excited, and my garden is great this year, so wish me luck that disease doesn't set in and that I can keep up with it. That's it.